Good morning. Self-awareness is a beautiful thing because it keeps you aware of yourself, right? So you are in tune with how you feel. You are in tune with things that make you feel some type of way, okay? Yeah. And in being in tune with yourself, sometimes you have to check yourself. Why do I feel the way that I do? What caused this? What does this remind me of? And when you are aware, self-aware, right? It makes it easier to acknowledge the triggers, okay? This is Antoinette Williams, the founder of Fab Personal Growth and Development. Fab stands for Focus, Attitude, Behavior. Focus on your attitude to change your behavior. Why? Because change truly begins within. And so this past weekend, I went to Boston to see my family and celebrate my uncle's 70th birthday, right? So, side note, I have not been out there since August 2018, so it's been almost 5 years since I've been out there and seen my family in the physical. And it didn't really feel like it's been that long because, good old Facebook, Instagram and stuff, it feels like, still there, you still see them. But it's a difference when you see a person in person. Definitely makes a difference. So, this weekend, I attended my uncle's birthday party, and there was a particular family member that I really don't mesh with, you know what I mean? Not too much backstory, but a little bit. This is my mama's baby sister, and growing up, she was the bee's knees. You couldn't tell me nothing. Like, she was a star in my eye. How could she not shine? She was amazing. And as life has it, right, that sometimes the people that you view as superheroes and you view them in a certain light when you are growing up, you realize that these people are actually flawed humans, okay? Which is fine. Now, this aunt was there, and I was triggered. I was triggered based on the interaction, our initial interaction, because I teach my children to be respectful. What you do is a reflection of you, and what others do is a reflection of them. And yet and still, I have some growing to do, okay? And so it was very simple. I had seen my other aunt. She looked gorgeous, okay, in her little gown, all right, little black and gold. She looked good. And so my aunt Michelle was right next to her. And so I was like, hi, I know Michelle. And she side-eyed me, looked me up and down, and said, hello, Antoinette. Whereas some people, it's not a big deal. Like, well, isn't your name Antoinette? Yes, but no one in my family calls me Antoinette. People that know me in real life don't even call me Antoinette, okay? Everybody calls me Tony. And I was so triggered by that because I just felt like, number one, the nonverbal communication showed that you really didn't want to acknowledge me. Two, your acknowledgement was super petty. Why did you hit me with a hello, Antoinette? And I could be exaggerating it now, you know what I mean? So at that time that I was triggered, I had to remove myself. And let me tell you what I learned about that. I learned that going forward in those types of situations to address it right then and there. Because once you give a pass, they're gonna take another shot. You know what I mean? If you give a pass, they're gonna do it again. And that's exactly what happened. And so, the interaction didn't even need to happen, to be honest. Like, I don't really fool with you and you don't really fool with me. And that could have just been that. But it was the intentional interaction. Like, you just had to say something to me. There's a room full of people. Why are you speaking to me? Why are you coming in my area? Why are you trying me? Is how I felt from my perspective. And I could have handled it so differently. And I realized, that I gave her way too much power, way too much acknowledgement, way too much mental space. I gave her way too much that she did not deserve, way too much. And I had to check myself. So here it is. This happened Friday and today is Tuesday. And I'm doing some self-reflection. And it's like, when that happened, when that took place, why didn't you say or address, I'm sorry, is there an issue? Is there a reason why you're addressing me as Antoinette? Yes, I know that is my name, but you don't call me that. No one calls me that. Is there a reason behind this? I could have been an adult and addressed it. I thought I was doing the best thing by removing myself from the situation, but hindsight tends to be 20/20. And I believe that if I would have addressed it from the beginning, then we would not have had the interactions that we had the remainder of the night. We would have done things differently. So I have to be honest with myself and take accountability of how I dealt with that situation, because I was triggered. And I had to ask myself, why are you so triggered? Because this woman is petty. This woman has the personality of playing the victim and the villain at the same time. And I don't care if she's the youngest of the 9 or 12, how many children there are. I don't care about that. I don't care that, you and my mother are just so close that I know that if I popped off on her, my mama would have popped off on me. And because I love my mama, I didn't do that to her, and I love myself, so I didn't want them to do that to me, okay? Yeah. But once again, I was triggered, and I had to really, really, really dive into myself and say, hey, you could have handled that differently. If you would have handled it differently, you would have had a different outcome, which is okay. Going forward, we're not going to play these games. Going forward, if something doesn't feel right, I'm going to check myself first. Like, hey, are you overanalyzing? Are you overthinking? And if myself and we all agree, like, nope, then we're going to handle it, okay? And address it, put a stamp on it at the time that it takes place. We're not going to allow things to linger. It doesn't make any sense, because it does not make me feel good for things to linger. It doesn't make me feel good to lash out and to go off, sis. That does not make me feel good. And if I am in the process of growing and changing, then I have to do whatever works for me, okay? And being uncomfortable does not work for me. No. Being upset does not work for me at all. And so I'm taking this as a lesson and a blessing. It's a blessing that I didn't put my hands on her. I was in Boston. I live in New York. Anything could happen. Blessing, okay, for her too. It was a lesson, okay, to do better. It was a lesson for myself, right, to check myself and to... Everybody always want to talk about they grown. And it's like, hey, you don't have to be that little girl to go walk away all the time. Yes, I believe in picking your battles, but you are an adult and you have a voice, and your voice matters and your feelings matter. Even if other people try to invalidate your feelings, even if others are saying, oh, you're blowing out of proportion, that's their perspective, not yours. And you don't have to accept that narrative. You do not. You know how you're feeling. You do. You know what your thoughts are. You know yourself. And if you don't address it at the time and place, and you don't have to be nasty, be a lady, be classy, but address it. Get it off your chest. If not, you're going to let it sit there. It's going to fester. And I'm telling you, it was festering, and I was getting real mad. Oh, I'm taking my earrings off. And it was like, once again, she doesn't even deserve all that energy. She's not worth it. She's not. Once again, you got to know who you're dealing with, right? So for effective communication, know your audience. And especially when you're dealing with someone that is the villain and the victim at the same time, you have to speak in a language that they understand. Yeah. And sometimes you might have to speak to them like this. Hey, is there an issue? What do you mean, is there an issue? I don't have an issue. Do you have an issue? Clearly, something's going on here. Let's talk about it. So, going forward, I will acknowledge those triggering moments, and I will do my best to address and keep it moving. Let it go, let it flow, get it off my chest, right? And release it. This message has been brought to you by Fab, Personal Growth and Development. Fab stands for Focus, Attitude, Behavior. Focus on your attitude to change your behavior. Why? Because change begins within. If this is your first time here, welcome to the Fab family. If not, shout outs to the Fab family. I do apologize because it's a little longer than normal, but at the same time, I think it's necessary for you to understand that although I am growing and we are growing together, there are still some things we have to work on within ourselves, and acknowledging it is the first step. We acknowledge it, we identify it, and then we do something about it. We take action. Yeah, we don't just talk about it, we be about it. That's it, that's all. And I do hope you have a good day. Work on those triggers, okay? You're going to get through it. This is how we grow. Being uncomfortable is how you grow. That's it, that's all.